In today's list, we're using the prefixes dis for not or apart from, and also the prefix un, which also means not. So we've got disgust, discuss, dismiss, distress, disturb, discover. Then we've got uncommon, unimportant, uncertain, and unwelcome. So let's go back and have a look. So in most of these words, we're making it mean the opposite. So we're changing them from their root word meaning whatever it may to its opposite, which is forming an antonym. So if you have a look in these words, let's look at the other things that we need to be aware of when spelling them. So if you have a short up word, and that's the root would be cuss, then you have to double the S at the end. Same with miss, you've got a short vowel sound, so you must double the S at the end, even though you're adding a prefix to it. Still a short root or a short base word. Distress goes for the same thing, short et, we've got double the S at the end. Now in disturb, you've got the UR making the sound, it's one of the R controlled vowels, so you need to remember that this is one of the words with UR in it. There's not a lot of words that have UR in them, so try to remember which ones they are. Discover, that's a common way of ending a word with the ER at the end of a word. Uncommon, now you've got a short vowel sound here in the op, so we're doubling the M after that. So you know most commonly a short vowel is followed by two consonants. It can be the same or different. Uncommon, you'll hear that on the end if you pronounce it correctly, otherwise you're going to get a schwat sound there, so you'll have to know that it's ON on the end. Now, important, we know that the root port starts with a P, and the prefix should be in before that. So, but because of the prefix change rule, we know that we can change the prefix into im if the first letter of the root starts with an M, a B, or a P. So port does start with a P, so we're changing the prefix into im. So we've got two prefixes on this word, important. Uncertain, you've just got the R controlled vowel ER in the middle there, so we only have one consonant after a long vowel sound, and all R controlled vowels make a long vowel sound. The AI at the end is making a long A sound. Now in unwelcome, do remember that when you use add well to a word, we're dropping one of the L's. And this is a lazy monk word, we call them, because in 1500 years ago when monks had to write out books by hand using acryl and ink, they found it very difficult to write words where there were so many up and down strokes caused by this use of the letter U for the up sound. So, and people were complaining that they couldn't read the words in cursive script when there were so many up and down strokes. So to solve the problem, the monks decided to change the U into an O to make it easier for people to read and easier for them to write these words. In these words, we're looking at adding the prefixes dis and un to these root words or base words. So they mean not. So they're changing the meaning of that root or base word. So we've got disgust, discuss, dismiss, distress, disturb, discover, uncommon, unimportant, uncertain, and unwelcome. Now let's go through and have a look at the other things that we can see happening in these words. You know, you're using a G before a U for the gut sound. Discuss, you've got a short vowel sound, so you've got the double S. Dismiss, you've got a short vowel sound, so you've got the double S on the end. Same with distress. Disturb, you've got an R controlled vowel, UR. So do remember that one. There's not a lot of words that have UR in them, so you really need to remember which words do have UR in them for the sound. Discover, the ER is much more common for the sound, of course. Uncommon, now you've got a short vowel, then a double consonant, and uncommon. If you say that, it'll make the spelling easier, but we do tend to give it a schwat sound, so just be aware of that. Important, you've got another or, R controlled vowel, or sound. Im here, now you know the prefix should be in, but before an M, a P, or a B, we're allowed to change the N to an M to make it easier to say. So that's the prefix change rule there. certain, uncertain, you've got the ER for the R control vowel there, making the sound, and you've got a long A sound in there made by AI. Now do remember with unwelcome, when you add well to a word as an affix, you've got to drop one L. And we know that unwelcome is a lazy monk word in which the monks decide to change the U for the up sound to an O to make it easier for them to write words with a lot of up and down strokes with their quills, and also make it easier for people reading their books to read the words, because it's very hard to read come with all the up and down strokes in that word. Okay, in this section you just have to write the meanings of these words. Now down here we've got dis means apart from, not, and un means not. So discover, uncertain, just showing you how we break those words into their affixes prefixes added to the base words or root words. Fill in the gap here to finish off the sentences. Down here, write the antonym. Antonym, of course, means the opposite. So find the list word that means the opposite to the given words. Then down here, we want you to find 3 other words that use dis or un. So you might be able to discuss that within your group to work out 6 words, 3 with dis added and 3 with un added to the start of each of the words. In this set of words, we're adding the prefix dis or un to a base word. So dis means apart from or not, and un means not. So you'll hear that one prefix over the other will sound better with a base word. So you just have to try them both when you get down here and work out which one sounds best before each of these base words. Verb families are nice and easy for you by now. Down the bottom you have to make the new word, then use it in a sentence. So make it on the first line and include it in a sentence on the second line. Down the bottom you've got to proofread, so find which word is spelt correctly and then write the correct version of the word on the line at the end. This page is about evaluative language. So evaluative language is when someone uses words that reveal how they feel or think about something. Are their feelings positive or negative? Their words let you know. The box below contains adjectives. Highlight the words that give a positive evaluation blue and those that give a negative evaluation orange. So you can work your way through those and work out whether they are positive or negative. Then down here you've got to read the sentence and write whether it is positive. If it is, you put a plus sign on these lines, and if it's negative you're going to put just a bar on the line, a negative sign. So the destructive storm tore through the town and ripped up trees. Think about whether that's positive or negative. It would be negative, so you just put a negative sign there. Insert at least 2 descriptive words, that's adjectives, into each sentence to make them positive or negative, as instructed after the sentence. So the first one, it tells us we have to make it positive. Now you could give 1 adjective to each of the nouns in the sentence, the subject and the object, or you could give 2 adjectives to either one of those nouns as well. So you can work your way through that. Now this sentence is exactly the same as the first one, but the second one we have to give it a negative form. Down the bottom you have to write your own sentence with a positive evaluative language, and then you could use some of these words up here, and then you also have to write a sentence with negative evaluative language. So once again you could use some of those words from above.